Morning, everybody. Jeff from Programmers vs. World again. Hey, last night I was playing around because my PS2 mouse came in, and I was messing around with some SuperBasic commands, trying to figure out how I want to implement this to put it in the game. And I just ran into a couple interesting things that I thought I would share. You could probably totally do this in SuperBasic alone without needing to peek or poke anything. But if you follow along with the wiki, which I'll show you in a minute, there's actually some really cool stuff you can do. And like, I'll just show it to you. It's probably easier if I show you. So first of all, SuperBasic gives you a couple commands to figure out where the mouse is, right? They give you the ability just to, and ignore these variables because it's going to create these ISX, ISY, ISZ. Now, if we print X, Y, and Z, wow, typing skills, right? We'll see it has a value. If I move the mouse around and then I ask again, you should see that value change. And I haven't done anything yet. So this command's just sort of working right now. And last night I felt like it wasn't. So I started going down a rabbit hole of figuring out if there was a bit that I needed to turn on to turn the mouse on. And I found something really cool in that process, and I'll share it with you. But we also have another command called mdelta, right? And is it delta or delta M? Mdelta, dx, dy, dz. Let's say the left mouse button, middle mouse button, right mouse button. All right, this works as well. This will give you the delta from its last set position to where it is now. Right, and we can see, I'll move it again. Come back in here, could check that, and we'll see that updated. Right, that tells me in the coordinate system where's its position now relative to where the last time I checked. And that is very, very powerful, and I can see where that can be used in a lot of places. But the truth is, in SuperBasic, from what I'm about to do with it, the mouse command was good enough, but it has some caveats to it. So we'll have to dive into this. One of the first things I thought was really interesting is like there's a memory address that if you poke into it, it's D6E0, right? And you give it the value of 1. Mysteriously, that little thing up in the upper left-hand corner shows up. There's a pointer, and you're going, oh. So in the wiki, they tell you that we have to use a poke L here because it's 16-bit, but they tell you that if you start poking addresses into D6E2, and we'll just set that to, I don't know, it's an arbitrary 100. We see that it moved. And if we poke into D6E4 at 100, we see that it moves right there on the screen. And in their tutorial, they'll show you that you could peek those values back out and then look at the delta and be able to move this thing around on the screen, and it works fairly well. So those 3 memory addresses are kind of super cool and super important if you want to use the built-in pointer. I had no idea that was in there. Now, you don't have to technically use this, right? You can take the mouse's position and draw whatever sprite you want on the screen and move it around. But I thought it would be fun to sort of keep this because, I don't know, it's just kind of a cool character. So let's write something really fast that sets all of this up. And I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal this one as well, but I'm going to set it to 0. I'm going to just make sure it's initialized to 0. It should be by default. And then I'm going to go in here, and we'll just put this one at 0. Make sure I have it. Okay. So what I essentially want to do is just create a big repeat loop and to just keep checking the mouse X and mouse Y. And then I'm going to move it along with us, right? And I'm going to show you the first thing you're going to run into, because until I really sat, my ADHD kicks in and I just go in different places and I don't bother to sit down and read the manual, RTFM. When I did, I suddenly realized that there's something else. There's 2 different coordinate systems going in play here. But let me show you where I started. So basically, I just started a gigantic repeat loop. We can run that and make sure it works. All right. And then I just started saying, well, on the inside of it, let's just do our command. instead of typing all this again, let me go back up here. I'm just going to steal that. And just for fun, for right now, let's print all that. X, Y, Z, ISZ, ISY, ISZ, ISY. That was pretty dumb. Well, you guys are screaming at your screens right now, aren't you? Fixed it. All right. ISZ. I'll get a comment, I'm sure. ISY, ISZ. Take a look at that, and we'll run that. Now, if I move the mouse around, you can see those coordinates are changing. And you notice if I go all the way to the right and all the way down, I get about 319, 230. Good, that's 320 by 240 minus. And then if I click the left button, I get a -1 registered there. If I hit the scroll wheel, I get a -1 way over there. If I scroll the scroll wheel, you'll notice Z is counting. See it over there? It's on 3, 4, 5. That's cool. And then the right mouse button is there. So this is left, right, middle. And I accidentally hit the scroll wheel right there. So we could see that it works. And in theory, if it already knows the X and the Y are sort of working like that, there's nothing to stop us, right, from just saying, okay, well, 70. I'm going to go back and steal these commands. I'm trying to get more efficient at editing this stuff. If I'm confusing you, let me know, and I'll go back to typing it, but I'm such a crappy typist. All right. So in theory now, if I just poke those two things, we'll be able to see that cursor move around, right? Well, check this out. Now I'm going to move it, and you'll see it is moving, but it catches right here, and at this corner, it says it's at 320 by 240. And that's because the mouse's coordinate system is actually, 640 by 480. So it's basically everything times 2. So we could fix that quick enough. We can just come in here and say X times 2, right? Sorry, sometimes I forget to hit return, so you'll see me go back up and do it again. Now, if we look, oh, look, it clipped. This is 319, this is 239, and we have the mouse moving around. It's blinking a lot, and in certain places, you'll see it flashing up top. See if I can get it to do it. And that's mainly because that while loop is not really smooth. We can smooth this out using that event trick that we had before. We can actually come in and say, well, let's say 35. We'll create event 1 equals 0. And then we just need to wrap that repeat. Actually, we don't even really need to wrap the repeat. We just need to wrap the poke. We'll wrap the print with it too, though. If event 1, and we're going to set it really short. That's the shortest I could possibly get. And then we'll just say 81 end if. Let me take a look at that. All right, let's run that. So now you see the blinking has stopped. And the cursor, oh, I lied to you. I still see it blinking up there. I wonder if that's because all the printing is going on at the same time. Let's kill that print line. Clear it just to be nice. And then, yeah, a lot of it was the printing. So here's the thing, and maybe somebody can share it in the comments if they know if it's possible. I don't see an easy way. Like on a Commodore 64 right now, I would be trying to find a way to, get an interrupt and get this actually plotted long before the screen ever starts to be drawn. And I don't know if we can do that in SuperBasic on this machine. But as we can see, it's working just fine. We can do some more fun stuff. Let's go ahead and do that now. We can take a look at ISX, right? So we said it's a -1 if the button is pressed down. So let's do this. 90 if ISX equal -1. Let's space that out. I don't know that it matters so much. No, it just crunched it right back down together again. And then we'll do 110 end if 100. let's say plot color random 256 to XY. All right, let's see what happens. Now, if I click this, whoop, syntax error. What did we do? I'm not 100% seeing it. Let's just try that command. Let's give it a 100. Interesting. Have we gotten interesting? Okay. Okay. So here we've hit an interesting problem. And it's not a problem with that command. It's a problem with the coordinate system. Okay, so bitmap has to be on. Good to know. All right, so let's clear the screen, turn the bitmap on. That's my fault, guys. I didn't even think about that not being on. All right, so now we'll go back to what we were doing. Now we have our pointer, and now if I hold the button down, you can see that, I can draw on the screen. Wow, what cool stuff. All right, so that's not too bad. So let's talk about if we were going to change something in SuperBasic, what would it be? I think, well, we can test this, but I don't really know. I think maybe because mouse delta is the command, or M delta. I think maybe getting the mouse position should have been M pause, right? And then maybe mouse should have been reserved for on, or at XY, or to XYZ, or something. I'm not sure. These commands might be in there for all I know, but I can't find them in the manual. So what we really have to do is we have to work around mouse and M delta to accomplish the goal. And I don't think those two pokes are that bad. I wish in BASIC we had a way to, I guess technically we create pointers. We could, no, there's not a real nice way of doing this. We can store addresses in variables and then use the address indirector probably to treat it like a pointer. And that's probably an idea to spruce it up. And then we could just create two variables called mouse whatever. I wonder if that works. Should we try that real fast? So if we created a variable called mouse x and made it equal to D6 E2. All right, it is a number. Then could we, if we use the at symbol, we're going to be pointing at the indirection on it. So like if we looked at mouse x, we're actually going to see the address of the variable, right? That's where the variable is stored. I wonder how we can indirect to that. Is it just as simple as saying mouse x equal 5? Oh my God. Yeah. So we could clean this up. We could clean this up and make it a lot more readable. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go 6 mouse, or we'll just say MX equal D6E2, right? MY is equal to D6E4. And then we can change line 70 to just use the indirection. By the way, the exclamation point's like a long, it should be peak L or poke L, MX equal X times 2, and then go 80. I don't know if this is any more readable. Sorry, I just did a bunch of thinking on camera. I'm sorry if I wasted a few seconds there. Does that work? Yeah, it works just the same. Okay, well, that cleaned it up a little bit. Maybe that makes it a little bit more understandable. I'll start doing this from now on when I'm doing demos like this, because I think it makes it a little bit more readable. I could probably just fully say that that's mouse X pause and mouse Y pause or something, so that the code's more readable. But, you know, that's the basic idea. Now, we don't have to have, this is important to know, we don't have to have this cursor here, right? We can turn that off just by saying, let's set it to 0. Now, if we run it, it looks like it's not there, right? But if I start clicking and drawing, you can see that it is there, right? What is that exactly? Who knows? Maybe the world's worst continent, maybe. I don't know. But we can turn that flag on and off. So D6E0 actually is the mouse pointer. I don't think this would be really hard to implement. I wish I knew more about assembly. I would absolutely implement that command, because I think really, honestly, what we would really need is just a mouse or maybe M pointer, right? M pointer on or something. And then that would turn the default one on and off. And then M pause XY would be able to set that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I think that would be a cool way that we could do this 100% in the box with SuperBasic without needing the peaks. But I don't have, like, I'm outside of Commodore 64 basic knowledge and then just like rudimentary stuff in assembly. I don't have the skills needed to do that. So if someone's out there listening and they think it's a good idea, then whatever. Otherwise, I'll just continue to do it this way. But yeah, you know, this is real quick video. I just wanted to show you how the mouse events work. I can clear the screen one more time and then list this so that you can see it. I'm going to probably eventually put the video poker thing up on GitHub. I don't like the way that it formats it right now, and I'm changing the code too often. And I have to take it from the SD card and move it over to the PC and then whatever. So right now it's better if I just leave a backup copy local and just continue to work on it. But I will put the code up there so you can see stuff like this. But yeah, let me finish my coffee and get back to work. So probably the next thing I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to get to it tonight or the next, but I'm going to see if I can do the hit test. I don't know if that mouse pointer is, I'm assuming it's a sprite. I don't know what it is. It's not, I could, oh, by the way, I promised you that documentation, right? If you look at, I thought I had a window capture up here. Did I not? Or am I not allowed to change it while I'm recording? Oh, there it is. You have to have it physically up, I guess. Inside the wiki, you'll see the address up there at the top. You can see that they give you a lot of information about these registers, and that down here, the common easy usage is what I was following last night until I realized that I didn't need to do the Delta way of doing this. Like for real simple stuff for mine, I could just multiply X by 2 and Y by 2 and get it. But this line right here, until I read that, I was ultimately confused. So I thought I'd just make a video real fast to share that with you. That's the one gotcha that had me thinking, I probably need to take a chill pill and go and read the documentation. And sure enough, that was the truth. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to go to work, and you guys have a good one. And I'm going to make some crazy thumbnail that looks all nuts and put it in front of this, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.